Fall 1999. Picture a packed conference room in Menlo Park, sunlight slicing across a whiteboard cluttered with scribbles and dreams. John Doerr, a venture capitalist with a gut feeling, just dropped $12.5 million on two scrappy founders named Larry Page and Sergey Brin. They're brilliant, sure, but clueless about how to turn wild tech ideas into a business that can survive, let alone change the world. How do you make a startup grow when the map is still blank? The answer turns out to be brutally simple: measure what matters. But what does that even mean? Stick around. Let's rewind to Intel in the 70s. Andy Grove needed a way to turbocharge focus and speed. That's when OKRs, objectives, and key results emerged, but what made them click? Here's the secret sauce that Doerr uncovered. Andy Grove was no nonsense. At Intel, he introduced OKRs as a way to clearly outline goals with measurable outcomes. The tech giant was pivoting fast. Remember, the shift from memory chips to microprocessors wasn't smooth. Grove insisted teams list what they aimed to achieve, the objective, and how to quantify it, key results. This wasn't a fluffy to-do list. It was a laser beam forcing tough choices. The results? Intel's turnaround wasn't just good, it was seismic. Suddenly, there was a rhythm, a heartbeat that pushed every employee, from engineers to execs, to align and accelerate. But could this system scale? Think of OKRs like a sports scoreboard during a tense basketball game. The objective is the game plan, say, win by playing tight defense. The key results? Those are the points ticking up on the board: steals, rebounds, shooting percentage. Without the scoreboard, the team's just guessing if they're winning. With it, every player knows exactly what to focus on and when to raise the tempo. OKRs turn abstract goals into tangible data, letting you adjust your plays in real time, not just after the final buzzer. Here's the kicker. After Andy Grove mastered OKRs, John Doerr brought the concept to Silicon Valley. Suddenly, startups weren't just chasing big ideas, they were chasing big ideas with metric-fueled precision. OKRs transformed chaos into a powerful growth engine. Teams learned to stop doing everything and start doing what truly mattered, accelerating innovation with ruthless clarity. That's why even today, every tech giant you admire uses OKRs as their secret weapon. Fast forward 2 decades. A scrappy startup named Google is burning cash, bursting with potential but drifting. John Doerr's $12.5 million investment hinges on one problem. How do Larry and Sergey pick what really matters when everything feels urgent? John Doerr walks into a nondescript room in Menlo Park, greeted by Larry Page and Sergey Brin, bright, full of energy, but with no real business framework. These guys have algorithms but no priorities. Doerr remembers thinking, great tech, no guardrails. His gamble, teaching them OKRs so the founders can decide where to double down and when to pull back. This moment was a make-or-break pivot. Could these quirky geniuses handle ruthless goal setting? Imagine standing at a fork in the hiking trail of your startup adventure. Fail fast means testing a rocky path quickly. Determine if it leads to the summit or a dead end. OKRs act as your compass here. Without them, you're wandering blind, wasting time and resources on scenic but fruitless detours. With OKRs, every key result is a checkpoint telling you whether to press forward or turn back. They force brutal honesty. Did that feature ship hit the mark or crash and burn? Years later, Google's rocketing valuation and market dominance owe much to OKRs. Inside, teams thrived on transparent goals. Everyone knew what mattered and what didn't. This framework let them innovate rapidly and kill projects that missed the mark early, saving countless millions. The real insight? Messy, sprawling ambition is seductive but deadly. Focus and fast feedback are the lifeblood of any breakout success. Setting goals is cool, but hitting them? That's where weekly check-ins come in. The secret sauce rarely talked about openly, but it's what separates OKRs from just good intentions. At Google and Intel, setting OKRs was step 1, but getting teams to review progress every single week changed the game. These weren't dreary meetings. They were 15-minute turbo check-ins that forced honesty and action. Teams quickly spotted when a key result was off track and made adjustments before it became a shipwreck. Doerr describes how this cadence creates a rhythm, like drumming on a beat everyone marches to, ensuring no one is lost or slacking. Think of weekly check-ins like tuning a grand piano. If you tune just once a year, the music sounds off, but weekly tuning keeps notes crisp and flawless, so every crescendo hits just right. Similarly, checking OKRs frequently lets you retune your efforts, spot early feedback, and avoid spiraling off course. Momentum isn't a sudden explosion. It's the steady click-click-click of small wins stacking up week by week. This discipline transformed cultures. Teams became more candid, more agile, more courageous about admitting failures and celebrating progress. Doerr reports companies where weekly OKR check-ins are sacred see a measurable uptick in morale and productivity. The real payoff: when everyone knows the score, trust skyrockets, and the impossible suddenly feels doable. Here's a punch that hits deep. Great companies aren't just great at building, they're also great at killing. OKRs force you to ditch beloved projects that don't move the needle. Sounds brutal. It is, but it saves lives. Paul O'Neill, CEO of Alcoa, shocked everyone when he made worker safety the company's top OKR. Not profits, not production, safety. This radical focus forced leadership and floor workers alike to rethink priorities. Initially, some thought it was a distraction, but tracking safety rigorously uncovered hidden dangers that, once fixed, boosted productivity and morale. The lesson: what feels soft and sentimental can become a powerhouse priority if you measure it properly. But here's the curveball. In the process, they had to stop chasing less valuable projects that diluted resources. Imagine OKRs as a spotlight on stage. The projects in the light get all attention, others fade into darkness. If a key result dims or stays unlit week after week, it signals something's wrong. OKRs enforce a ruthless audit of where your team's effort actually creates impact. It's like pruning a bonsai: cut the dead branches to let the rest flourish. Without that painful pruning, you just let the wild jungle swallow your goals. The payoff: once Alcoa zeroed in on real impact, the company smashed records and restored trust worldwide. More broadly, Doerr explains how embracing OKRs trains teams to kill with kindness, letting go of the glittering distractions to double down on what truly drives transformation. That brutal clarity is a superpower few organizations have but everyone desperately needs. You might think OKRs are just Silicon Valley wizardry, but here's what Doerr proves: they work everywhere. It's not just about tech, it's about how humans move when given clear, measurable goals. When Bill and Melinda Gates decided to tackle global health, they adopted OKRs to measure impact, not just inputs. Instead of vague philanthropy, every grant had clear objectives: reduce malaria deaths by X%, increase vaccine reach by Y. This shifted a massive foundations approach from well-meaning giving to aggressive solving. Tracking these key results publicly created urgency and accountability, proving OKRs are a force for good beyond profits and products. Schools, a traditionally bureaucratic mess, found new life with OKRs. For instance, high schools in Texas revamped their entire culture around student achievement goals and teacher collaboration objectives. The difference? Everyone from principals to janitors knew what success looked like. Discipline improved, test scores rose, and the vibe shifted from grinding to striving. Here, OKRs broke silos and built community focus, a rare feat in education systems. Here's a twist: OKRs work for your personal life too. Doerr shares stories of individuals applying OKRs to fitness, learning new skills, or even relationships with surprising results. Alignment isn't just corporate jargon, it's human energy focused like a laser. When you set clear objectives and track what truly matters, you unlock motivation you didn't know you had. OKRs, it turns out, are just adult versions of childhood promises to ourselves that we can be better. Remember that late '99 Menlo Park scene? John Doerr's gamble wasn't just money. It was a mental framework that forced Google and countless others to do three brutal things: focus on the few goals that matter, track progress with transparent data, and kill what doesn't work fast. You don't need to be a tech giant or billionaire to use OKRs. Tonight, pick one clear objective, big or small, and define 2-3 key results to track by week's end. You'll turn vague hopes into sharp, unstoppable action. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.